My name is Christian Basel. Years ago, I had an idea. I got myself a Tardis. Took it to new places, met a lot of new people, took some great pictures, and talked Doctor Who. From Krypton Radio and the creators of the Hanging With web show, this is the legend of the traveling TARDIS. Join me on my latest adventures and become part of the legend. Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Whovians, to another episode of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. My name is Christian Basel, and I'm the host and flight coordinator of my particular traveling TARDIS today. We've got another episode coming your way, but to do this, we've got some friends to introduce to you. First off, we've got artist and director Melanie Dean. Everybody, say hello to Melanie. How you doing, Melanie?
Doing well. Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well and staying safe and being home, listening to our dulcet voices, the dulcet tones of our voices.
She used a big word. I got to look it up later.
I tripped all over the damn big word.
You guys, that's exactly there. Well, folks, yeah, we're still in quarantine. We're still doing our thing. We're still protecting the universe by staying home. That will be the first time and only time that I'll ever wear a shirt that says that, and I have the proof to back it up there. So if you have a chance, please, 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 if you have a chance, if you want to save the universe, stay home. That should not be a hard thing for anybody in this day and age there. Speaking of staying home, we have, bad segue again, we have the lovely and talented author, Mackenzie Flohr. How are you doing, Mackenzie, of the Right of Wands?
Hello. I would love to be in Iverna right now because we would be out of it, but we would not be in this quarantine.
oh my goodness. I'm having, you know how they say you have convention withdrawal? I am having convention depression now. I think it's way too long there. And we're going to be talking about conventions at the end of this show there. And actually, I think one of an online convention which you'll be able to participate in and see us. It's going to be taking place in April, but more to that later. And I'm going to be introducing our good buddy there, Dr. Freedom himself, Brian Burress. You can catch his videos on YouTube. Dr. Freedom, Brian, how you doing today?
I don't know what everybody's freaking out for. To me, this is just a typical weekend. I don't go out anyway. It's like, you mean I can do this 7 days a week for a couple of weeks? Hell, I can do that. Sign me up. I don't go anywhere except to the store, and that's rare. It's like, unless I really need something.
How are you guys holding up in the new world reality that we in the new world order of COVID-19? I mean, how are you guys holding up? Because you weren't in the last episode.
Who, us? I don't know. The zombies haven't marched onto the lawn yet, so things seem positive. Yeah. We've just been, keeping on. We're homebodies anyway, so it's not like we go out all the time, except on the weekends, every now and then. And even then, that's just during the summer, But for me, it's no big difference. Like I said, I don't go anywhere. So you want me to do this? I can do this. It's no big.
Somebody pay me to stay home, please. Now it's happening. Brian, I got to say it. And for those of you who are not on the YouTube channel, you're missing out. Brian, what's with the glasses? Come on. I do.
Normally, I'd have my contacts in because, when I go to work, I put my contacts in and I wear safety glasses over that. And these were given to me, and I never really wear them to work. So now that I'm stuck at home and all that, I haven't even bothered to put my contacts in like almost 2 weeks now. So I've just been getting re-addicted to the old school, glasses.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, folks, welcome again to another episode of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. This one's going to be a bit of a different episode there. I've been wanting to do this episode there. I wanted to talk about the First Doctor. But not the one that you're thinking of. I'm talking about First Doctor for one episode only, just like Mr. John Hurt as the War Doctor. We're talking about actor Richard Hurndall, who basically was just on the 5 Doctor episodes for about, what, a good 15 minutes? But I think he's an unsung hero in the Whoniverse that we don't really relate to, because it's the second time that somebody has played the First Doctor. It's not David Bradley. It is Richard Hurndall for 15 minutes. We'll get to him in just a few moments, but first we're going to start off with Dr. Freedom and the Who Knew News. The Who Knew News is brought to you by Dr. Freedom and the YouTube channel. Again, please check it out. Go over there and subscribe. Tell them the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS sent you. Anytime a bit of news information in the Whoniverse comes out, he's always on top of it. He's always giving his opinions. You're going to love what you hear. I guarantee it. And now, Mr. Dr. Freedom with the Who Knew News.
Sorry about that. My screen just went. I can't count the fingers. Okay.
Intro and what?
That's okay. Go ahead. If you want, we'll just start fresh, because I can already just edit this part out. It's fine.
All right.
No,
you don't have to.
No. It's already kind of liney, so.
Okay.
Whenever.
If you've not heard the name Emily Cook, you should have by now, at least, especially if you've been watching, your social media, Twitter and all that. She's put together a series of events called Doctor Who Lockdown, where she's had fans getting, they've all been getting together online with various actors and tweeting about episodes as they all watch them together simultaneously across the planet. Now, this last one was Vincent and the Doctor. They've done Day of the Doctor, and they've also done, Rose, for the anniversary of its first airing. And it's just been intriguing me how this is bringing the whole community together on social media for something positive for a change, where, people are getting together just to watch an episode and comment on it. So,
sorry. I didn't mean to go ahead.
But if you want to look her up on Twitter, it's at Emily_Rosina, or Rosina, over on Twitter. So if they're going to be doing any more of these, I'd keep my eye out on that account, because she's the one who came up with this whole crazy thing. And, she's the one who's been suggesting episodes. And it just amazes me how fans are getting together for something positive during these times, that we can pull together and do something together, but at the same time kind of apart. But, that's whole philosophical. Let's move on. So keep your eyes out for the hashtag Doctor Who Lockdown, or Who Lockdown, or something like that, if you want to pop in on one of these.
And I think the next episode coming out is the 11th hour. I think, if I'm not mistaken. And by the time that this episode premieres, I don't know if it's been released or something. I can't seem to watch it. They always come out when I'm at work, which is it's not fair. Not fair. Have you guys, Melanie, Mackenzie, have you guys gotten a chance to see any of these when they premiered out there, or has it just been hard on the schedule?
For me, I actually really didn't have any interest. I know I'm a terrible Whovian. I actually had no interest in wanting to join it.
To watch free Doctor Who? Anyway.
I probably
All right, you're out of here. Take her out. No, Melanie, get rid of her. Shut her screen down. She's done. Free Doctor Who, and she's not interested. Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. You can't take Mackenzie anywhere. Hey guys, I'm watching Doctor Who. Oh, no, I'm not interested. I just panel on a Doctor Who panel. Who cares?
I'm a very rebellious person, so there we go.
I noticed.
So, oh yeah, see that.
Where did that finger come from on the YouTube channel? I'm watching it.
It's like all of a sudden it was an extra hand, like it was a Da Vinci painting. Like, wait, it all just happened.
Speaking of which, Dr. Freedom, what else is in the news today?
Now, John Barrowman, you know how John Barrowman is. He's wanting to get his piece of the spotlight. Come on, it's John Barrowman. That's how he is. Okay, now apparently he's announced over on his Facebook page that on Thursday, the 2nd of April, that he wants to get everybody to get together, around the world, and watch episode 12 of season 1 of Torchwood, which was, entitled Captain Jack Harkness. And apparently this will take place at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific, and basically use the hashtags, hashtag RTWatch, hashtag Torchwood, hashtag Captain Jack Harkness, to join in on the phone with John Barrowman as they watch this live, everybody across the planet together. So he's getting his bit of it. Okay, so moving onward. Now, apparently, fans, on top of the fact we just aired, Vincent and the Doctor for one of these events, fans got together and to share encouragement and art on Vincent Van Gogh's birthday, which just happened to be March 30th. So, if you want to go check some of these things out, they're all over the place. People posting his bits of art here and there. Karen Gillan, who was even putting up photos like the sunflowers one, the infamous sunflowers photo from the end of the episode. So if you want to pop over around on Cultbox, they've got that up if you want to go take a look. All right. Jodie Whittaker, by the way, also shared a message of hope and encouragement. If you haven't seen that yet, that video has been put out, I believe, on the official Doctor YouTube channel, where she did this own little recording from her own location. And Ray Holman did confirm, yes, that is her actual costume. Apparently, she's allowed to take one home with her for some crazy reason. Do we really want to know why?
Actually, yes, I do. I do want to know. And she looks like she was in her closet the whole time doing it.
I know. It reminds me of one of Sophie Aldred's announcement videos where she's in the cupboard.
Yeah, exactly.
But apparently she was putting out the message that darkness never prevails and that we'll all get through this together. So if you haven't seen that bit, go look on the Doctor official YouTube channel. It's still up there. And it was just kind of nice to see that she took the time out to share this positive message with the rest of the world. So, okay. And lastly, if you've not read this yet, Chris Chibnall has put out a new short story. And it's called Things She Thought While Falling. And apparently it's only about, I'd say maybe a page or two at most. But basically he's describing what's going through the 13th Doctor's mind as she's falling out of the TARDIS before she hits the train. So it's a nice little short story out there. Look for it on various outlets. You'll just type in Things She Thought While Falling, #Doctor. You'll probably find it. I thought it was amusing, a little bit funny here and there. So kind of weird that he's bothered to take the time out to give us this little bit of insight into what was going through her head as she's plummeting to the earth, kind of like a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy moment, where the whale and the planter, the potted planter falling, so that's what I got out of it. That's why I got a kick out of it. That's all I had.
I can just wrap up in one word what was going through her head. Atmosphere. And apparently the roof of a train, whatever that hurt. So, my goodness there. Oh, wow. Do you guys think this is going to be a new trend now? What they're doing now? That's just putting episodes online for people to catch every now and then? And they get to actually speak and tweet with their favorite actor or the actors from the show there. I'm hoping that this trend continues to follow. Has anybody guys got a take on this? Do you think this is going to be something new?
I have a feeling that this is probably going to have something that's going to gain traction. Like I said before the show, and just kind of, aside to everybody, this was something that was very, very popular on Twitter around 2005, between that and like to 2010, 2012, where a lot of people would live tweet along with actors, along when the show was airing. Well, now we're no longer a people who like to do appointment viewing when it comes to television. We have a tendency of wanting to binge. And now this is almost that way of kind of having that social media component, having that from a marketing perspective, having that interactivity with your fan base and being able to still make it kind of an appointment viewing, but something that's going to be, they're going to set that to the most like the population can use, like in the case of John Barrowman doing something noon Pacific that's over, it's noon Pacific, but it's here, it's 3 p.m., but in Greenwich it's probably 7. So it kind of works broad scope. I kind of see this, I think this is going to gain traction. I know that for me personally, there used to be a lot of different groups like on Tumblr and whatnot, that there was another website called Rabbit TV. It was RABB, I think it was RABBT, RBBIT, whatever, .tv. And it was a way of sharing other videos and stuff like that. Since then, there was a lot of copyright law issues and stuff where you couldn't do that. But the biggest thing was people would show episodes, and this is how I kind of found it out from my Tumblr groups, was that people would binge watch old episodes of things. So it was hey, have you never seen the Paul McGann Doctor Who movie? I have a copy of it. I'll play it. Who all wants to watch it with me? And we'll chat about it as we go along. So a lot of people loved that concept, but Rabbit couldn't really do it for copyright wise. So right. I think you're getting that that spark of creativity where people, you've got the demand for it. How do we go ahead and fulfill that supply? And I think Doctor Who's kind of jumping in with, was it invention is the mother of necessity, or necessity is the invent? But switch that, reverse it. Necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
We're all stuck in our houses. It's the whole quarantine kind of situation. Stay at home, be safe. Hey, here's another idea that we can go ahead and present. So I think I think it will gain traction, honestly. I think so.
I'm
Well,
just
it's definitely.
I just want to say I'm just looking forward to when the fans get together and start naming episodes and which Pink Floyd tune syncs to it.
I kind of like this. I think this is going to be something, and especially with Classic Who, because the only place you can see right now, there's a few sites, including Pluto TV. Give them a little plug there for that one. But but not only that, I think the experience, I think a lot of Whovians like, and I'm seeing this often, especially when I see groups get together, is they want not only to watch their favorite show, they want people to geek out with. And I think the best example of this is when I've gone to a theater, and there is a big difference when there's a Disney movie playing with just a regular audience, and there's a Disney movie playing with full of cast members, which are Disney employees. There seems to be just a big difference on how the reaction is. And just the moment when everything is wrapping up and you just want to geek out, the episode, you've seen it 100 times, you've seen the movie, but you have that experience where you can talk to other people and say, "Oh, I like this moment. This is the moment. This is the thing." Or, "What did you think about this moment?" Or, "This is when everything went south," or, "This is where everybody get the feel." So, I think it adds a new dimension to just not only watching your favorite show, it also adds a dimension to an experience. So, speaking of experience, we got a hard commercial break. I know. Shut up about my segues. They're just the way they are. When we return to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, we're going to be rating actor Richard Hurndall on his performance in The Five Doctors as being the first Doctor, if that's not confusing. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, and continue to become part of the legend. Hashtag stay safe and stay at home.
It's Germany, 1938. Charlotte is a 15-year-old girl living in the Jewish quarter. George lives in the city proper, and enamored by Charlotte's charm and grace when she wanders into his cobbler shop, George decides right then and there that he is going to marry her. Follow along as this unlikely couple struggles to stay one step ahead of the Gestapo and their dramatic escape from Nazi Germany. Good Things Always Happen in Springtime, from author Joanne Fisher, on Amazon.com today.
Alien invaders enslave Earth.
Unleashing hunters into the ruin wastes.
One young survivor struggles to elude their monsters, clinging to hope.
When he's stolen off the planet by a sarcastic starship AI, they pit their uneasy alliance against a treacherous galaxy.
Explore a whole new verse of barbarism and betrayal.
Wonder and adventure.
In the Scion series
by Michael J. Allen.
Beginning with Book 1, Scion Conquered Earth.
Available in print, ebook, and audio on Amazon.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basel. Again, please, hashtag stay home, stay safe. We want to thank you for continuing to listening to us and all the episodes that are going to be coming out, releasing. By the way, speaking of interacting with us, I just want to let you know, when you see the YouTube videos, when they come out, we actually, for the most part, we're on there live. So you can actually chat with us as we're watching ourselves talk. So you're more than welcome to come visit there, and you might get lucky and see one of us on there chatting away, talking about the episode that we were just talking about the episode we just talked about. Yeah, okay. Anyway, welcome there back, folks. My name is Christian Basel. I'm here with the lovely and talented artist Melanie Dean, the lovely and talented author Mackenzie Flohr, and the lovely and talented Dr. Freedom himself, Brian Burress. We're going to be talking about something that most people don't talk about. It's the first Doctor, the man who would be... Now, let me give you a little bit of background over here. Of course, if you know anything about Classic Who, the man who started it all, William Hartnell, he played the first Doctor, depending upon what timeline we got, but he is known as the first Doctor, the man who would start it all in 1966. And fortunately, due to illness, could not continue the role and actually had to bow out in 1963, and then bow out in 1966 to be replaced by Patrick Troughton to become the second Doctor. Flash forward a little bit ahead, and we have the three Doctors, which included William Hartnell himself, who was able to be in the show at the with permission from his wife Heather, but unfortunately at this point in his life he could not perform. He actually was Heather had was guaranteed by the producers at the time during the three Doctors, which included Patrick Troughton and John Pertwee as respectively the second and third Doctor. The first Doctor was there, but only in, what was it, the time bubble? Was that what it was called, Brian?
Yeah, he was trapped in a time eddy. Yeah, something like that.
Time eddy. Yeah, time eddy. And somehow or another, he figured out about the time bridge sitting in his bubble. He just like, those two couldn't figure it out. I digress. But in this story, in the three Doctors, poor William could not perform. He couldn't even, I think at that time, he couldn't even stand up. So he had to perform sitting down in his time eddy, and he was reading from cue cards. And this would be the last and final performance of William Hartnell as the first Doctor throughout the TV series. Flash forward, I think it's 1983. And the television show was celebrating its 20th anniversary, and we're now up to 5 Doctors. There was the fourth Doctor, you know well, Tom Baker, and also Peter Davison. And that time, with the 20th anniversary, the producer, John Nathan Turner, wanted a special event called The 5 Doctors. But unfortunately, out of the 5 Doctors, 2 of them were unavailable, or at least one of them just didn't want to do it. And one of them would be Tom Baker, the 4th Doctor who just recently played. Now, it depends upon which story you want to follow, whether it was just recent. Yeah, Brian, I think you're jumping at the bit. Do you want to finish that segment, or was
well, they kind of left it vague. So that's what I love about it. They left it up to the fans to interpret for themselves. Is he, the actual 4th Doctor who's been aged because he's come forward in his time stream to do this bit? Is he a future incarnation of the Doctor who's going back to his face, like he alluded to in his lines? It's kind of left mysterious. I kind of like it when they do that. So that way, you don't have arguments over canon, but okay.
Well, they used clips from an episode called Shada, which you'll probably never see. Well, no, you will see. There have been segments, but not in its entirety. They did an animation cartoon version to complete the episode itself, which was written by, of all people, Douglas Adams. You know him better as the man who wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, at this time, also, Tom Baker not being in the episode, nor could William Hartnell. Unfortunately, he had passed away, I believe, 1974, 75, just a year or two after he did the 3 Doctors. And in comes this gentleman by the name of Richard Hurndall, which at the time was kind of a strange thing, because when I caught the 5 Doctors, first of all, I didn't know there were 5 Doctors at this time. I just knew Tom Baker, and that was it during my PBS years. But the man who would fill in the gap for the first Doctor would be Richard Hurndall. And I don't know anything about Mr. Hurndall, with the exception of he was an actor. He was born in November of 1910, and he was at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. He also did some television work, but the most famous that I can think of, now he's done other works like The Avengers, Bergerac, and other things there. I think he's also worked with Patrick Troughton as well. But as the Whovians remember him, being for about, 15, 20 minutes, being the first Doctor. And going back and seeing Richard Hurndall perform the part, and then me going back and watching William Hartnell, I could arguably say those are 2 different Doctors. Now, I could be wrong. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But first of all, I want to go ahead and give a rating system on the people, on Richard Hurndall's performance as the first Doctor. So, Brian, go ahead and start it off. We're doing that 1 through 10, 1 being bad, 10 being great. How would you rate Mr. Hurndall as the first Doctor if we're only looking through the microcosm of the 5 Doctors? And I think his mic's off.
Oh, sorry about that.
That's fine.
It didn't work. I don't know what happened. Man, things had a technical difficulty. Let's see. Yeah, there was a lot of Hartnell's mannerisms he put in every now and then. I did notice. At the same time, his own performance added onto it. I'm not going to downplay it too much. I'd have to honestly give him an 8 out of 10 for the effort.
8 out of 10. Gotcha there. Now, Mackenzie, what would you rate Mr. Hurndall?
For him as an actor, I would have rated him a 9. However, for consistency purposes, I have to agree completely here with Brian and go with an 8.
Go with an 8. Do you have a number for us, Melanie?
Not really. Because honestly, I personally don't think I can even rate him because I can't say his performance was bad. I can't say his performance was outstanding and just a pinnacle of a touch point of this character. No, he came in, he did exceedingly well. He did the role effortlessly, I think, and he got nailed the character. So job well done. I don't think I can rate him because to me rating it means it takes away from 15 minutes. And I say 15 minutes. I know there was more screen time than that. But I can't rate them. I don't.
No, that's a fair assumption, and it might be. I mean, I still have.
Otherwise, I'd say 10. I'm going to rate him against himself. Usually with usually against them, I'm going to rate him against himself or rate him against. Am I rating him against? Well,
I said in the microcosm of being the first Doctor in there. If you wanted to go and just relate to his acting as far as what he did in the 5 Doctors, and I'll go ahead and extract out Hartnell for that case. If you want to do like a dual rating like Mackenzie did, that's fine. But as being the first Doctor, as far as being interactive with the other Doctors and his performance with Susan, with the 5th Doctor and his companions, how would you rate his performance?
I'd give him a 10. I'd give him a 10. He didn't feel like he was out of place. He felt like he was the first Doctor. He kind of looked at everybody else like with a side eye of I got to watch these people. I don't trust any of these people who are clearly me. But he was also wiser. And everybody else kind of still had revered him as the fact that he was the first. So yeah, I'll give him a 10.
And not only that, but no, go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, to say, I'll give a -5 to my local PBS channel because when they finally got the episode, they hung on to it and showed it during Pledge Week, and then they hacked it to pieces. Yeah, they did. I didn't get to see that full episode till years later because it turns out they hacked bits off of it so they could stick it on during Pledge Week.
Oh, God. -5. So you're giving PBS -5 of their treatment of how they did the episode.
That's right. I'm sticking it to you, WVIZ TV Channel 25, going on 30 years later.
Gotcha. I think I'm going to be consistent as far as the rating is concerned. I'm going to give him an 8. I think, and I'm just going to bring this out over here. This is my interpretation of Richard Hurndall because, to tell you the truth, when he performed it, I knew he looked like he was somebody who was trying to emulate William Hartnell, but he still brought on something of himself that seemed to be completely on the other side. Now, here's an example there. When you watch William Hartnell and you see his interpretation of the first Doctor, I'm not saying this in a bad derogatory word, it's just, I feel uncomfortable. I feel like he's hiding something. Even though he's the grandpa, you don't know whether he's going to, he's going to pull a fast one on you or something like that. So, okay, walk into that tent and there's a pony inside. Then all of a sudden the pony is dead, or some weird. So I know that's a bad analogy, but there's something about the first Doctor. I know, Melanie, shut up. I have no idea how to explain it. It's just that he seemed to be a little. What's the word I'm looking for? Irascible? Is that the word I'm looking for? He seemed to be a little bit aloof. He seemed to be he seems to be scary grandpa when it comes to it. He seems to be the grandpa that scares the hell out of you. When it came to Richard Hurndall, he felt like, I feel safer with this first Doctor. Now, tell me if I'm right or wrong about that, but I felt safe. He still kind of emulated the first Doctor, but he seemed more passive. He seemed more compassionate with Susan with things. He seemed to, you could tell when, basically when he was telling Tegan, make me a sandwich, you still saw the first Doctor weirdness in there. Oh, come on, tell me that wasn't the case.
I laughed.
Seriously, I mean, that's how I feel.
It's brilliant.
It's like, and then then the Fifth Doctor is defending him like, yeah, no, just humor. It's just like you could see a little bit of the tinge of the First Doctor, but still, Richard brought on a personality. I felt if somebody said, okay, if you want to go with Grandpa William or Grandpa Richard outside, which one would you? I would feel much safer with Richard because he felt he had more compassion. It's not to say anything bad about the First Doctor, but I would still feel a little bit off about walking outside with the First Doctor. He's going to do something weird. Something's going to happen. He's going to pull a prank there. So, guys, what do you think of my take on Richard's interpretation of the First Doctor? Did I miss out on that?
No, I think you got it spot on because I agree with you. I actually liked Richards, even though he was only in for one episode. I actually liked his performance better than Hartnell. And it was nothing against Hartnell because Hartnell's a brilliant actor. I just liked that he was more like how the Doctor is now. It was actually interesting when I was doing the research for the Binge Watcher Guide that the original pitch for Doctor Who sounded a lot like how number 12 ended up being, where he was more of the grumpier type. So I kind of think of it kind of like that, where Richards was just a lot more, I don't know if alive would be the right word to use in this case, but you could find him more relatable instead of being like, oh gosh, what am I going to do wrong next? And what what am I going to get criticized by?
Yeah. He's like the adult. Like if you do something wrong, if you're in the room and that adult catches you doing something wrong, they're going to let you know. Richards feels like if you did something wrong, he's going to like, well, don't do that again. It's not going to come off as a scolding. Speaking of scolding, folks, Melanie's telling me we have a commercial break. We have a hard break to go on. Please continue to log on, stay tuned in. When we can return to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS on this episode, a special tribute to the second First Doctor, Richard Hurndall, from the Five Doctors. When we continue, please stay logged on, tune in, stay safe, and continue to become part of the legend.
Now on Amazon.com, iCoin from author Jeremy Mosby. It's an alternate reality, and the leader of the planet iCoin is none other than Benjamin Franklin. When corrupt officials threaten not only iCoin but the Earth as well, an unlikely chosen one, Jeremy, must face dark foes to save the Earth and iCoin alike. Author Jeremy Mosby takes readers on a superhero's adventure through this compelling and imaginative alternate universe. Get iCoin on Amazon.com today.
Jackie Sonnenberg's My Soul to Keep is a ghost story rooted in the realities of actual cults. When 13-year-old Sky Monroe arrives at her new boarding school, all she can think about is death and connecting with the afterlife. Soon she discovers her school's spirituality group, the Guardians of Light, and they have a secret. They can speak with the dead, and the organization is a cult. But this isn't Sky's only problem. The campus house where Sky resides is haunted, and even the ghosts have an agenda. They intend on getting the souls they want. Filled with mystery and intrigue plucked straight from the headlines, author Jackie Sonnenberg's research and attention to detail give this ghost story an even more eerie atmosphere. Find My Soul to Keep on Amazon.com today.
And welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. My name's Christian Basel. I'm here with Mackenzie Flohr, author Mackenzie Flohr. I'm also here with Dr. Freedom himself, Brian Burress, and the lovely director of our show and talented artist. If you're looking at the YouTube channel, you're checking out all of her artwork on screen. We're talking about the lovely Miss Melanie Dean here. We're talking about the second First Doctor. It's going to be hard to get the numerics right. Yeah, exactly there. The second First Doctor, Richard Hurndall. And did anybody want to elaborate when we came back about Hardberg as far as what I thought of Richard? Or you guys want to elaborate on things that you noticed here and his interpretation in the Five Doctors?
Well, at least he didn't say she was on her way to a jolly good smack bottom.
Yes.
I gotta give
Gotta give him on that one. Yeah, David Bradley kind of took care of that problem.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just make it worse than it is.
The thing was about the episode, though, is of all the companions, this guy is in there. He's trying to fill the role of, but even by then, Hartnell's an icon and his doctor is fixed as one of the old. Of course, he's the original at this point. Mm-hmm. And who do they pair him with? Tegan. just the fact he was able to bounce off Tegan
Exactly.
with a straight face, I have to give him props.
I think everything the Fifth Doctor ever really wanted to say to Tegan, the First Doctor, Richard's Doctor, did it in there. It's just like, and I'm surprised that the Fifth Doctor just, yeah, leave him alone. That's how I was. That's the way I was going to be. That's the way that I am there. But all right, well, in this particular case, what would you guys, comparatively to his successor and his predecessor, how do you put Richard's Doctor in the universe spectrum there? As far as, do you think he was a better Doctor or a worse Doctor? Because Mackenzie, you said he was a better Doctor than William. And what makes him a better Doctor to you? And how would you rate him against Bradley's version?
Ooh, that's really difficult because I like Bradley's a lot too. And Bradley's, for consistency, I feel is definitely more in tuned with Hartnell's Doctor. So it really depends on what type of kind of version of the Doctor you want. If you want the Doctor that's more of the grumpy, more of the no nonsense, the one that's going to scold you, David Bradley is definitely more than, say, Richard's Doctor would be. But I liked Richard's because he was friendlier and he was direct like how Hartnell's was, but he wasn't abrasive. And so being someone who's direct myself, I run with that issue myself, where sometimes I'm very abrasive when I'm being and blunt. Other times I can be more empathetic, which I felt Richard nailed. He was a lot more empathetic than his other versions.
Gotcha. So you could probably be, Brian, you could probably say on the spectrum, let's take the 12th Doctor as a time frame of the First Doctor. Here's why I'm explaining it this way. The 12th Doctor would probably be, at the beginning, would be William Hartnell. Midway through would be Richard Hurndall, and he ends up being David Bradley at the end. Does that kind of follow that trend, or does that kind of sound like a weird trend?
I can see that. Yeah, it's just, to me, more than anything, he was in the right place at the right time, to step into these shoes and fill this role. Because, this guy's a TV veteran. He knew what he was doing, and he's shown it brilliantly in his interpretation of the role. So, yeah, I can see that where, he's kind of like a midway, between, the Doctor who was mysterious, a little bit dark, and it was, not socially awkward, just couldn't stand people. Then he became a bit friendlier because they went through the same journey with Capaldi in a way, didn't they?
Yeah,
he started
exactly.
Very distant, didn't like to be close to people, but then he warmed up. So I can see, these different stages of the First Doctor. Yeah, I can see where you're going there. I can do that.
I just, I really, it's hard to say where his Doctor could have gone, and I would love to have, if it were existing in that time frame, I would have loved to have heard him do Big Finish, to see where he would have gone with that, to see how he would react with Susan. And I know that David Bradley's taking up the mantle about that, but just to see what 5 minutes, even there, I don't know, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, friends, but if you get a chance, there's a deleted scene. No, it's not really deleted. It's like in the new version of Doctor Who, they put in the segments that didn't quite make it. They have like the longer version. I think it was the 25th anniversary of the 20th anniversary or something like that, if I'm not mistaken there. And there's a scene in there where Tegan and the First Doctor are walking, and she says something to the fact, it's kind of slightly cringeworthy until he says something. And she goes, "Come on, Doc, you can make it." And he just walks up and goes, "I can make it, dear, and kindly stop him dressing me as Doc." And I was just like taking it out of there. I was just like, I think he's got the First Doctor down. I feel bad because he never really got a chance to go any further with that. And unfortunately, because of his situation, he, like William Hartnell, after the 5 Doctors, sadly, Richard Hurndall would pass away there. And I thought he had a great moment in the show. And I think he wasn't appreciated as much there during that. Do you think that Richard gets the respect that he deserves for being in that moment? It's kind of like, I kind of consider him, this is kind of the off thing, but it's kind of like Eric Roberts taking over for the Master. You're kind of like, and then at the same moment you go, but you were there. You were the master, and I appreciate that there. I just feel like he's underappreciated for what he did in the role. And I don't remember of anything else that he's done. Go ahead, Brian. What were you thinking? I see you shaking your head.
No, I mean, you got me, because like I said, I did not even know the name Richard Hurndall until I finally saw this episode. Then it was years and years and years later when I looked up, saw that he had, a lot of experience going into the role. But like I said, he was just in the right place at the right time. I think he did the best he could. All I know is this: I feel sorry for the first Doctor more than anything, because he raised a granddaughter with the weakest ankles on Gallifrey. I was always hoping somebody sooner or later, even Bradley, sometime would do a line where, my God, the woman can sprain her ankle on a twig. There could be a toothpick laying on the ground and she could sprain her ankle. I'm sorry, I'm doing a crappy accent, but I sounded more Scottish than anything.
Big finish.
I feel bad for the 5 Doctors and the bad rap it gets every now and then, and it's kind of like when everybody gives the 5 Doctors a bad rap. I get the same I get that same feeling when people give the Day of the Doctor a bad rap because the previous Doctors weren't on at all. I'm like, how can you do that? And I think I could see something to where they could probably have verbally brought the Doctors back in and start talking to each other, which they did. They had little segments of that, but I think he did the best he could. It was Terrence Dicks who wrote that, right? Who wrote the 5 Doctors? Yeah, Terrence Dicks. And and with the situation that it was within, that Tom Baker couldn't be there, and of course the first Doctor wasn't there, and we had to replace him with Richard Hurndall. I think for what it was worth, I think for what we saw in Richard and got from the episode, I'm content. What do you guys think of the 5 Doctors in general, as far as what came out there, and where do you think the potential could have been for better? Because I also know for a fact that Tom Baker, when he fell out, the first Doctor, that gave actually Richard the power to come back up there. They wrote more lines for him, so they gave him more involvement. So that was, I think I kind of appreciated in that respect that it gave Richard a little bit more time, because he didn't really have that much time. But gosh, I can only think if Tom Baker had more lines and Richard had less, how much time did the first Doctor really have in this episode? So, I mean, what do you guys think just of the 5 Doctors in general? Which is something I think we should revisit someday.
Yeah, I really just liked the episode. I watched it for the first time in years, I appreciate it because it has a nice twist to it that all the Doctors are trapped.
I'm sorry.
In there.
I'm sorry. I don't know if Melanie noticed, or maybe she did. Yeah, we see, if you're watching the YouTube, we see additional pair of ears on Melanie's screen out here. Meow. Yes. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Mackenzie, I'm sorry, start all over. What'd you say?
I was saying that I really liked that particular episode. It was very different because of the fact that you've got all these Doctors together. They all get captured and turned into like these micro machines equivalent of that. and then you got the people of Gallifrey who tell the Master, oh, well, we need you to go save the Doctor. And it was just like, really? You're asking the Master, of all people, the Master you're going to ask to save the Doctors. Okay, this is going to go well.
I kind of thought that was cool, because here's a twist. The Master is going to save the Doctor from having trouble there. And I know you said micro machines, but I'm going to take it one further. Have you ever been to a water park or a zoo, and there's that big machine from the 1970s, that wax machine?
Oh, yes.
Still there? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's the machine that you used to put, like, yeah, exactly. All you had to do is push a button, and this press thing would come down, and you would get your elephant or your whale or your gorilla or whatnot like that. And when you said micro machines, I said, no. I think it's one of those little wax things that you get from the zoo, and so it's like, I was like,
it's a big injection molding
Yeah,
device.
exactly.
So to clarify a little bit more for our podcast listeners, it was this huge device that basically what it had is on either side it was a big metal mold. You put money in, you could get either it would basically close up. You would see it at a press kind of go through behind like a plexiglass or a piece of glass, and you'd see the mold kind of the two sides club together, something inject inside, which was basically plastic, and it would be pretty hot once the thing would open up, cast, and pop out, so you could get it. But it would solidify relatively quickly, and it usually was something that the mold either had like Sunken Gardens written on it or whatever water park you were at or something like that. So that's what that was. It was like these two huge 1970s style dies just coming together, going boom, and then all of a sudden you just saw this tube of plastic going in, and it would just unseal, just poof, and this thing would just fall out. So
But
that's what Christian's talking about.
Yeah, but these things were like the size of the iron lung. I mean, it was just
Huge.
for this little piece of thing that you could just fit in your hands. It was like, what was it, $3 or something like that? But
Yeah, it
was
was
just
$3. I had a macaw. I'm like literally looking around my office, going, "Do I still have that thing?"
No,
and I was. Go ahead.
There's one thing that will always stand out about the Five Doctors.
Yes.
And that it brought us one of the most infamous lines delivered of all time. Now, y'all want to join in out there with me in podcast land if you know what it is? Ready? 3, 2, 1. No, not the mind probe.
Oh, God.
And for me, when I think of that, I think of, gee, the monster was still obsessed with the Cybermen then.
I think they've been dating on the side these days.
Possibly.
I swear, yeah.
I get up to Sasha's master. You know this is not going to work, right? I don't know what you've got planned, but you've done this before. You've had the Cybermen on Gallifrey and you messed it up. What makes it going to be different here? Speaking of messing things up, here's your segue, folks. We're heading to a commercial break. When we return, the final portion of our segment here to tribute to the second First Doctor, the legendary Richard Hurndall. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tune in, hashtag stay safe and stay home as we continue to become part of the legend.
Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish.
Santa, if there's one thing I want for Christmas more than anything, it's someone to spend Christmas with. Someone who really wants me to be there.
Head to the mountains of East Tennessee with romance author Jenna Hart for a Christmas writer's workshop. Since her mother passed after a long illness, Jenna has had one wish. She doesn't want to spend Christmas alone. Meeting Niccolo Maldini, cover model and actor, could make more than Jenna's Christmas wish come true. Unless Ember, Niccolo's ex-girlfriend, does something crazy to stop them from being together. It's a mountain Christmas romance you won't want to miss in Deborah Parmley's Jenna's Christmas Wish. Now on Amazon.com.
Hi there, folks. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling Tardis radio show. My name is Christian Basel. The funny part about this whole thing is that I got a new camera. And the whole time that I've been recording episodes, I will actually, and Melanie always catches me this, you're always looking left, right, up, down. You're never looking into the camera. I'm just like, and that's what I used to do when we had the old laptop there. I was just looking off in the distance, and she goes, "Why do you do that?" And I said, well, usually that's me just thinking. And she goes, no, you got to stare at the camera. I'm like, okay. And then as soon as I stare at the camera, I'm like, I forgot what I was going to say. What?
Who told you to stare at the camera?
You did.
No, it was a matter of glance at the camera, so that way you could see the commercials and the notes, and Brian doing this sometimes, saying time out, and everyone dancing to get your attention, because something over there on stage right is absolutely amazing.
I was waiting for you earlier when it goes doing that with the paper.
I was
not the mind probe.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, I used to be when we used to do the recordings there before we went onto the YouTube and the YouTube to the YouTube channel and recording this, I would literally be sitting here with my eyes closed, So I can remember what I was about to say, thinking about what I'm saying, processing what I'm going to say. If I did that on the YouTube channel, everybody thinks I'm going to be falling asleep during the whole time I'm on the show. They're like, Christian, what's wrong with you? I'm like, no, I don't have a headache. I've just been trying it. Now that I've been trying to get used to the camera, I'm like looking left, looking right, anything but at the camera so you can see me actually talking. So now I'm getting used to that. But my screen here, I get to see everybody else. So then I'm looking at Brian, I'm looking at Mackenzie, I'm looking at everybody else there, but the camera itself. So if you see me going off and on like that cat over there on Melanie's desk. Aw, he's cute.
Aww. And usually I'm the one who has got the cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Working from home has gotten them all used to different things now, so she's kind of my little corporate buddy.
Aww.
So what has been home life now? I know we were talking about this in the last episode, but guys, what does it feel like? I know, Brian, you're like, okay, I can do this 7 days a week. I'm an introvert. But how's life changed for you since we've had to do this, since we've had to go incognito, for a better term, I guess, into our houses and just kind of be there? Has life been different for you? You kind of get, because I get stir crazy. I work from home. I occasionally get real stir crazy. I'm just like, Chrissy will come back outside and she goes, do you want me to cook dinner? No. Why? Because I will pay for dinner. I don't care if it's the dollar value meal at McDonald's. I need to see something that is not part of the house at this point. I need to see something different out there. And if I don't go out, I will go crazy. I will even go out in the yard and look at things, look at the neighbors' houses, just so I'm not completely insane there. How has been home life treating you now? Or are you guys rebels? Are you doing something different? You jumping out? It's like, yeah, I walked across the street.
Yeah.
You gotta stop me now. Go ahead, Ryan.
I discovered that my car isn't working. My car is currently dead. And the weirdest thing is I got one of these anti-theft things in my car. It has locked me out of my car even with my manual key. So next time I'm in Michigan, so we really haven't had nice weather yet. So I'm waiting for the weather to actually get nice so that I can open the trunk and literally climb in and hope that my neighbor, because she do. I'm just waiting for that.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, at least you were like my buddy like 20-something years ago who took his Chevette. Y'all remember the Chevette little hatchback car? He took it out to be washed, knowing full well that night the temperature was going to drop to -8. So sure enough, the next day, all of his things are frozen. He literally had to take a little mallet and tap at the hatchback to get the hatchback to open so he could get into his own car.
That's kind of how I
damn
climb the trunk because I can't open the front door because the manual key doesn't work, and I can't use my actual locker to unlock it because the battery's dead, and then the car battery is dead too.
But it says damn good theft prevention. It even keeps the owner from stealing it.
Exactly.
Melanie, I've gotten it so far worse because I work for a rental car company, which I'll leave unnamed for right now there, but I've been one of a million victims when I think it was for about a brief moment of 3 years where if you have the engine running and for some odd reason when you close the driver's side door, it locked all 4 doors even with the motor running, and it didn't matter. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to confess and go, yeah, I did it. But I know a bunch of people, including myself, who have done that. And this is a scary thing. And they have to call the people I think they're called Papa Lock or something like that to get it out there. And just like, I'm glad those vehicles, they changed their mind on that vehicle because it's like, oh my goodness. But that's what it reminded me of out there.
Those are the engineers that like made those at Universal Studios, right? The ones that you go on Harry Potter. I did that the very first time going into Hogsmeade. I locked my ticket in the safe thing, and I'm like, I'm sorry. They're like, oh, it's okay. You're like the 20th person that's done this, and they had just opened too. I'm like, please.
But I know how you feel because I once owned a 2003 Jaguar. Don't be too impressed, people out there. It was already like 70,000 miles on it when I got it. I paid $8,000 for it off a used car lot. Car ran beautifully. Didn't have a single problem with it. Had beautiful interior, everything. But then every now and then when you'd stop, like at the gas station, you'd go back into it, and it would think it was being stolen. So now you're just putting your key in to unlock the door, and suddenly, wait a minute, the key's in the door. Also, the alarm goes off. The kill switch kicks on, which is one of the features they have in it. So in case someone tries to steal the car, a kill switch goes off electronically. So you can't even start the engine at this point. So you literally had to sit there and go disconnect a fuse out of the fuse box to get the alarm to stop going off. And then, meanwhile, you're standing there being embarrassed as crap because your own car is shouting at you as you're trying to pacify it so you can just get along with your day. Now you're getting in there, you finally get it, and then now you got to wait because you go to turn the key and nothing happens. Mm-hmm. So you had to sit there and wait like 10 minutes, and then finally you could put the key back in and start it because that's when the kill switch would finally reset on its own. So this car, like I said, it only happened to me half a dozen times in the 2 years I owned it, but it's like, hey, I'm going to make you pay for this.
Melanie, I don't know if you saw the other day, I went down, and I just want to give an impression for people who are not probably familiar with Florida. There's a road called International Drive. This is where the other half of the attraction set, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, and the convention center is all on this major road. Anywhere that they make food, any type of food that they make out there, Thai, is on International Drive. You name it, steak, whatever. And I decided to go out. It's a ghost town. It is a complete and utter ghost town. I mean, there was nothing. I mean, the roads that you would normally go and travel on, they're completely empty. Now, I'm saying this because I'm stupid. And I'll just go flat out. Melanie should be nodding her head. Yes, Christian, you're stupid. Because, yeah, exactly. So, okay, I get the rolled eyes. So that's even better there. You have to go around. There's two roads that go around the convention center. There's Universal, and then there's Universal Boulevard, and there's I Drive. And then went to see the backside. The Orlando Eye, it hadn't been moving. The last time I hadn't seen the Orlando Eye moving was when they had that big maintenance scare thing. Where I think they were down for some days. I don't know what behooved me, but we came across the convention center. Now, for those of you keeping up with what's going on in Florida in the convention center, it's now coronavirus. Hey, what is it? Not a safe zone. What is it?
Drive-through testing.
Drive-through testing, but there's also shelters.
That.
Yeah,
and some type of hospitalization care.
Yeah, it's basically coronavirus central. I don't know what behooved me, but as I'm coming across the road, there's 4 lanes. And I'm passing the convention center. Something irks me to move the car a little further to the left. Like the coronavirus is going to jump from the building and hit me. But I'm just like, I've never, it kind of dwells on you the reality of what's going on right now, especially in this day and age. It's like I'm avoiding the building. Like I'm going to get the virus if I move out into the next lane, if I don't move out there. It's just like knowing that what's going on inside the convention center, knowing what's going on outside the convention center, and knowing what our reality is now in this day and age, everything's changed. And I'm hoping one day we'll recover and get away. Shut up, Brian. I know you're laughing at me.
No, I don't want to make light of it, but I just pictured you explaining into the highway patrolman you were trying to outrun. It was chasing me, officer. I saw the rearview mirror.
It's just I don't, like I said, I don't know what behooved me. It's just like it's not going to make it any better that I'm getting into another lane. It's just like I just in this convention center where we performed tons of panels, where we've done lots of things, and have had so many Doctor Who actors and everybody geekdoms throughout the world, and now it's this. It's just the reality of things, and I'm not trying to downplay it at all, but. That is the case, folks. We've got a minute left, and believe it or not, we've got convention news coming up. We've got 7. Believe it or not, we've got quite a few going out there, and please keep an eye on the Facebook page. Let me just cycle this, but the ones I want to definitely hit upon, if you want to catch us, April 17th through the 19th, the Traveling Tardis will be making a premiere on the CyberCon with CyberCon 2020 with the Hanging with Web show. So definitely, please go to their page right now. I think it's HWWS Media. Check it out, like them, and there will be more information about that. We have some information going on. MegaCon has moved over to June 4th to the 7th. That same convention center I'm talking about is where it's going to be hopefully taking place out there. Burress is also going to be taking place that same weekend. So literally, I'm going to be there Thursday, half of Friday, and then I'm going to be driving all the way to Alabama that weekend. But your favorite celebrities out there, Melanie Dean will be out there. Jessica Womack will be out there as well. She'll be at our booth. So please go ahead and check them out. I'll be there.
MegaCon. Making sure they MegaCon.
MegaCon, and I will be at Comcast Cerberus. Yeah, I'll be Comcast Cerberus for Saturday and Sunday night in Huntsville, Alabama. June 12th, this has been moved back. Kaiser SuperCon. Our representative Cookie Dough Cosplay will be there, and she'll be hosting panels on behalf of the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show, and she'll be talking about cosplay. She'll be cosplaying out there as well, so please check it out there. Also, the Traveling TARDIS will be returning to Florida SuperCon. July 4th weekend, July 3rd and the 5th over in South Florida. And the following weekend, if this is not a bunk up between two big conventions, Tampa Bay Comic-Con the following weekend, July 10th through the 12th. All these events are going to be out there. And of course, as you know, with what's going on, subject to change without notice. So please keep up on that. Please keep up with the pages in there. Folks, that's it. We are out of time. I want to appreciate you joining us every week as you do with the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS radio show. I hope you like our little tribute to Richard Hurndall, the second First Doctor. But without him, we wouldn't have a second First Doctor or a 5 Doctor. I don't know. Anyway, that was weird. Anyway, folks, thank you for always joining us. Stay logged on, stay tuned in, and always continue to become part of this, the legend. And stay home just right now. We'll meet you out there soon. Promise. Take care of yourselves.